Hello, everyone. Welcome to day number 3 of Norway Chess 2022. In this game, we will feature Wesley So's win, although it was a draw in the Armageddon. Okay, the rules states that if the game goes into the Armageddon, Black only needs a draw to win that game. Although in the last position, also Wesley was already winning. Okay, it was a very solid win by Wesley, and he remains undefeated in Norway chess. All right, in the Armageddon, Giri started with e4. Wesley went for e5. Both games actually were black. In the classical part, also Wesley was black against Giri, and it was a draw as well. Knight f3, knight c6. Should be 5, knight f6. Okay, this is the best approach. The Berlin Wall. Giri went for the anti-Berlin with d3. He doesn't want to go into the normal castles, takes, d4, knight d6, takes, and the knight f5 takes in d8, takes in d8 and b1. Because again, the percentage of a draw is higher here. Went for d3. Bishop c5, takes. Just to show you that knight takes e5 is not possible here, because there's queen d4, a double attack on the knight, and checkmate on f2. So white castles, knight into d7, protecting e5. Idea would be f6 to solidify your central e5 square. Knight c3 castles, bishop e3 f6. Right. Okay, at the same time, the knight is also protecting the c5 bishop. On e5. Knight e2, a5. a4, d6. Okay. b3, rook f7. Knight g3, g6, controlling both squares. All right. These are two strong pawns. The f6 pawn controls e5. The g6 pawn controls h5 and f5. Not allowing the opponent to get into your own territory. Okay, queen to e1, bishop f8. Now, if black decides to capture this bishop on c5, knight takes c5, black will have a complete control of the middle with knight e6 here, and then c5. Yep. Knight d2, knight e6. White cannot play f4 as well. So Giri went for queen e1, bishop f8, keeping the bishop, and then knight c5. Knight e2, bishop a6, developing his last piece. Knight c4, knight e6. All right, control of two important squares, f4 and d4. Nice knight. f4 anyways, takes. Queen d7. Space for the rook, clearance. Knight goes back to d2, bishop to g7. It was possible for Wesley to go knight d4 here, threatening c2. If, for example, the rook goes to c1 to protect that c2 pawn, bishop a3. Yeah. So no, that's a big no-no. Now, so the queen has to go back to d1, and then you can push f5 and try to break the position. Yeah. And black is better here. Bishop d7 is coming. The threat of the rook. Rook e8 is coming. Yeah. Bishop g7. Knight takes, queen takes. Also at the same time, you keep the knight. Yeah. With knight d4, you're keeping the knight. Because if white takes d4, queen takes d4, king h1, two bishops, right? Can go bishop d4 with a pin. It's winning, I guess, for black. Bishop g7 takes, knight f3, c5, control of the important d4 square. King d2, g5, not allowing the exchange on h6, keeping the pair of bishops. Rook f8. 8-6. All right. The point of 8-6, you protect G5, you can push F5. H4, G4, 92, F5. Yes. To free up your bishop. Queen G3 takes an E4, takes F7, rook takes F7. Bishop into F4, E3. It was also possible for Wesley to go for bishop D4 check here after king H1 and then queen F1. Because Giri cannot capture the pawn on E4, the bishop is 7. If you E8 check, then just king move to H7. Problem is where to put the bishop, yeah. And black can get inside the F2 square, threatening mate, and also hitting the second rank, yeah, with this bishop. Pretty strong on B7. He went for E3 anyways. Okay, if bishop takes here, then bishop B7 clears the way for his bishop. So Giri went for knight E4, Wesley went for bishop B7 still. Although queen F5 is also winning. If bishop takes E3, then bishop E5. Queen F2, we have queen H5 hitting the queen. And if queen goes to E2, we have queen takes H4. How do you stop this threat? Bishop B7, king H1 takes an E4, takes an G2. Wesley now is up a pawn. Queen C6, H5, queen F6, bishop F8, bishop D6, exchanging the bishop, takes, already winning for black actually. King G7, takes, king G6, king H6. Here Wesley went for the repetition with king G6, G5, king H6. But if we go back, after rook G5, sorry. After rook E5, Wesley can continue with rook F3, yes, which is winning without without chances for white here. Rook E7, okay, it looks scary with taking all your pawns on the queen side, but you have a faster connected pawns here on the king side with H and G. King F5, rook takes H4. Let's continue until the end. Rook H2, king F4, D4 takes, A5, also H4, A6. You have king G3, yes? Now, if you continue to push, you have rook H1 and then rook A1. And if, let's say, the rook goes to A5, you play rook F2, king, let's say, go E1, because the king cannot go G1 here. You can capture rook takes E2 if he plays A7, there's rook C1 mate, yeah? So instead of king G1, white will play king E1, rook F8 back. You play A7, rook A8. Then how do you stop this noise? You go king F1, for example, it's king H2, yeah, all the way. It's still winning for black. But Wesley didn't go for this one because in the Armageddon, you just need a draw to win that game. Right? It's a draw or win for black. With 7 minutes, 10 minutes for white, 7 minutes for black. And another interesting format here is that in the Armageddon, once you reach 40, you get an increment. Yeah. Giri was able to get to 40, but even with that increment, his position was already losing. All right, that was a pretty solid win by Wesley. In the first game, it was a draw in the end with a final position of another rook and pawn endgame. Yeah, with 4 pawns each on the white and the black side. And Giri cannot penetrate into black's camp here, of course. So So a win in the Armageddon puts Wesley to 6 points. Because the other day also, he won the Armageddon. 3 points for a win. Yeah, and if for Armageddon you win, you get 1.5 points. The loser actually gets 1 point. Okay, so it's a different scoring system. 3 points for a win, 1 point for losing in the Armageddon. Of course, if you lose in the classical part, you get 0. A win in the Armageddon gives you 1.5. So Wesley winning both Armageddons against Magnus and Giri, he gets 6. Yeah, after winning that first round over Radjabov, 3 and 1.5, 1.5, 6, and still undefeated. Right, Wesley is in really good form in this tournament. I hope he continues once more. There's still a lot of games to play. And we will also cover every round of Norway chess. Thank you guys for following. Thank you for supporting our channel, Charles Max Chess and Charles Max Entertainment on Facebook and YouTube. This is Coach Oliver. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.